learn more, just make sure that we didn't miss anything. So I hit the record button there.
We'd very much like to learn how to get a background like your background. It looks impressive.
Yeah, so I think next to your video there, you can activate a virtual background. It doesn't work for everyone. It kind of depends on some computer specifications, but yeah, I mean space.
That's good.
Yeah, so well, I guess first of all, I have a few questions, but we just wanted to have a chat really and learn a little bit more. So, have you can you tell me a little bit more about any STEM online courses or courses that maybe Ava and Daniel have done in the past? What was your experience like?
When you went, when school stopped,
Mm-hmm.
what's the name of the program?
Seesaw. We did Seesaw when we were Seesaw is basically you can connect to your teacher and she can send you work to do.
Okay, right. So that's how you were communicating with your teacher while you were learning from home.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. And how did you like the interface with Seesaw?
It was good.
Yeah, you managed to connect with your teacher.
Actually, this is absolutely top secret. But the night before last, Ava and Daniel were both using the Microsoft HoloLens 2 to send virtual emails and create mixed realities and so on. So we'll get a chance to do that.
Wow, that's really cool. And do you do any other extracurricular activities as well?
Anything outside of school that you enjoy doing?
Oh, we do running and we do swimming. We do tennis and taekwondo. And I do piano and my brother does concertina.
Wow, that's really nice. So a lot of activities to keep yourselves your bodies moving, and music is lovely as well. If I can give you any advice, never stop. Yeah, I used to play the guitar when I was about your age, and it's actually something that back in the day in Brazil, I'm from Brazil, and a lot of the guitar players, they'd be men, and then I would thought that playing the guitar was something for men, and I just kind of stopped doing for a while. And I was trying to get back now, and my fingers, they don't respond to my it's yeah, it's all about practice. So it's amazing. I'm delighted to hear that you're learning. So yeah. Yeah, and so most of the extracurricular activities that you do, they wouldn't be related to science or technology or anything like that, would they?
No, not really.
We do a little bit of programming with Scratch and Python.
Oh, do you?
Wow. Only a tiny little bit.
That's great. Did you try learning by yourselves or did you try doing a course?
Well, yeah, we tried learning by ourselves. We haven't done a course yet.
And how do you like it?
It's fun. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. And did you find helpful resources online?
Yeah.
And then do you just Google maybe some how do you go about finding these resources?
Well, we kind of use our imaginations as well, but yeah, we do use Google.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it's not like you follow a tutorial or that you watch a video and then you try to do the same thing. It's more like using your imagination.
Well, sometimes we watch a video and then we might do what the video says, but then we kind of play around with it a small bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's the best way to do it because with the video, you learn a few tools and a few things that maybe you didn't know. And then you use your imagination to apply those that knowledge to do something else. That's great. Um, yeah, so I guess I'll just have a look here in terms of like any online experience, like when you're searching, like when you're finding resources. Can you tell us a little bit more what has worked for you, or maybe something that you found a little bit frustrating?
Like in,
Or just anytime you search for something in a project
oh,
or
no, I like all of it, and
Mm-hmm. So most of the resources you find them pretty helpful.
yeah.
Yeah, and there's no particular, is there a particular website that you go to find them? Or is it like just a Google search, whatever comes up?
Think, well, what do you do?
yeah, I think it's just a straightforward. If we get your question right, if we have something that pops into our head we're looking for, I think you did a project at one stage in school on you're allowed to choose an animal,
Oh
and
yeah,
and then we'll just plug that in and see what turns up.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Can you tell me a little bit more about your project?
So I picked a chameleon,
Mm-hmm.
and he just picked a, kind of printed out pictures and facts onto an A3 sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Mine turned out really well.
Oh, that's so cool. It's nice when you have the flexibility of investigating something that you like, that you're into, because like for different people, they might choose different animals and so on. So chameleon is really cool. I like them. And can you tell us a little bit more about how the activities? I saw that you did you do all of them, the challenges?
Yeah, favorite one I think was the one where we basically built our own robot.
Yeah. I love the robot that you built using the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah,
That was really cool. And you were so creative as well with your pictures. I remember when I received the photo of the foreign binary, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, what does it mean? And then I saw the description of the photo and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Uh, yeah, and like for the activities themselves, was there, what did you find was interesting about them, or like?
I like
Mhm.
that they're all about different things and they weren't all about, or they weren't all about binary, or they weren't all about making robots.
Mm-hmm. So there was a diversity in the
Yeah.
topics there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the structure of the activity? Maybe you remember there was like a story, and then there's videos, and then there was like the activity sheets. How did you find that split?
It's the way it kind of all had like a routine and
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it's nice that there is a structure, and then once you do the
Yeah.
first one, you understand how it works, and it's easy to do the next one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you have any favorite parts to it, or any parts that you wish was a little bit different?
Mm, no, I liked all of it.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Yeah, it was a lot of fun creating the story as well and trying to connect the story with like what you were learning. Um, and like when you were completing the activities using the activity sheet, was there anyone you found a little bit more difficult? You needed maybe your dad to help you?
I found the binary a small bit hard.
Mm-hmm.
The coding wheel.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you, especially with the coding wheel. I thought that
Yeah.
one was really hard. So well done in completing it. Uh, and did you do the activity mostly with your brother? Uh,
Yeah, and sometimes if we were stuck, my dad would help. But with my brother.
Okay, so you were mostly working just the two of just the two of you.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's really cool. So you were very independent. That's great. Yeah, and
One
then
of the things that we
mhm.
noticed, Mary, was that if the videos, the videos were either funny or had a task in them, they got more attention.
Mm,
The
yeah.
I know when we came and went from the different activities,
Mm-hmm.
um, the extent of the scrolling, if we abandoned it halfway through once and came back, the fact that you had to scroll down through everything to get to your last place, it's a tiny thing, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would be a relative negative.
Yeah, that's a very relevant comment. We're looking into maybe making the activity shorter, and then you kind of click to go to the next thing instead of like keep scrolling for so long. So that's good to learn. And in terms of the videos as well, there was some of the videos they were like a person talking, and then some of them was more like in animation. Do you have any preferences around that?
I like them all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's great. And the main thing is like if they're funny and like that they're not too overwhelming with too much information, that's even better. Mm-hmm. Very good. Um, okay, I'll just have a look here just to make sure. In terms of like festivals and things like that, so like say when it's Science Week or things or like things like around those, do you do anything in particular to celebrate maybe in school or any other activities outside school?
For Maths Week, every day in that week at school, we would watch a maths video with like lots of tricks.
Mm,
And on Science Week, we do an experiment every day.
okay, that's really good. And those are organized by your teacher then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then like during COVID that you were working from home or learning from home, you were sent all the activities, is it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find learning online?
It was harder than learning in school, but it was alright.
Yeah, kind of get used to it as you go as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you were to choose, you would prefer doing face to face, or you think there
Yeah.
is some level of good things about doing online as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think the good things about doing online would be?
Um, if you don't get in trouble, and so you don't get in trouble as much, and you don't have to talk to your teacher if you don't want to.
Mhm.
So say she sends us something, you answer back to that, but you don't have to really talk to her if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then if you want to talk to them as well, you have the ability to, so you can
Yeah.
have flexibility there. Mm-hmm. That's great. Have you done any like camps outside school, like maybe summer camps?
No, I think we just stuck with running. We do running mostly 3 times a week at the moment, but
Mm.
when is off. We've been doing running on a Saturday as well. Um, but yeah, I've basically stayed with the same stuff.
Okay, perfect.
Pony riding here.
Oh yeah, in summer, I love horses. So in summer, when we go down to West Cork, we always go horse riding. Um, and that's my favorite sport, but I don't get to do it very much.
Yeah. So it's special to do it in the summer, I suppose.
Yeah.
Nice. Those are sweet memories. Um, okay. I'll just have a look here in terms of e-learning platforms. Yeah. So like for like the extracurricular activities that you do, or I mean the after school programs, after school things, how much of your time does that usually take?
depends which one it is. So if we're doing a school activity, usually it would take maybe an hour. If we're just doing something for our teachers, it might just take maybe half an hour.
So then that's your homework school is like half an hour usually.
Well, like school is 6 hours, but if we do homework, it would only take me maybe like 25 minutes or half an hour.
Okay, so it's great that you do most of your work in school, and then when you come home, maybe half an hour and you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
During the summer when everything was so strange, Ava and Daniel published a book. And that took up a good bit of the spare time during the.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, tell me more about your book.
It's called Lockdown Loot, and basically it's a load of our work and our art and our poems and short stories that Daniel and I both did. We put it all into a book, and it was published by Badly Made Books in Cork.
That's amazing. Well done.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Cool.
You published your first book at the age of, how old are you?
11.
11. Oh
11.
my gosh, this is unreal. And in your book was like mostly short stories, some
Yeah.
drawings. Yeah, wow. What is it called again?
We were doing it for Cork Simon, and we dropped off a load of their copies of Lockdown Loot to them so that they can sell it online.
Oh, that's lovely. Well done. Yeah, yeah, it's a lovely initiative. So you would be fairly creative as well with your writing and
I love doing
drawing.
art,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Yeah,
love writing stories.
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I suppose in our like for our camps as well, this is something that we are looking into doing a bit more as well, of like incorporating science and art, like having like looking at things in different ways through art, and it's amazing the things that we can create and how much more we can learn by engaging with content in that way. So I'm delighted to hear that you really enjoy art as well.
Yeah.
You're probably familiar with the STEM to STEAM movement. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but it sounds like there's some of the thinking is being borne out by practice now. The traditional way of thinking of these as discrete pathways and discrete functions was probably a bit misleading, that they're not separate at all.
Yeah, so like nowadays I think there is a trend towards like incorporating everything into like just learning, and yeah, that's something that I'm very passionate about as well. Have you done or what's your experience with that, George? Have you heard more of it? Is it?
Separately, we're interested in how people learn and under different circumstances. So let's see, that sort of thing is interesting, and from time to time, different groups that I'm involved in one way or another either examine it or test it, that sort of different routes for mainly adult learning, but under different circumstances.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think in UCC there is it like a course for science teachers, and they're really into like making like STEM learning more creative and artistic. I can't remember now the name of Declan.
Oh, wait, Declan Kennedy.
Declan Kennedy. He's the like he's one of the main lecturers.
Okay.
Maybe the course coordinator, I think, for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so that's really interesting to hear. I guess like maybe I'll just do a few ask you a few questions in relation to like any like if you're looking at any programs or extracurricular things for your kids. What are your thoughts, the main things that you value about them, and so on. So like for example, so like when you're looking at these extracurricular activities, what are the main things that you would be looking at for your kids?
Um, from my point of view, Ava might have a different view on this. We
Yeah.
look for things. One is that they're of high quality.
Mm-hmm.
Is that there is an outcome within the frame of time we're interested in. And thirdly, that it represents a good balance for, from our point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And balance would be between physical activity, things that are basically creative, and something that is more critical thinking based. So if it fits into the right balance of those,
Mm-hmm.
in the right time frame, and they're good, then we're interested in that.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. And then in general, when you see something that is like interesting like this, you'd be like maybe discussing with them what they think of it. How does the process kind of looks like? Or is it more that they ask you to sign them up for something?
No, it's very tyrannical. They say yes or no, and that's the end. They, there's no democracy in this house. If says no, it's no. And
Yeah.
from the outset.
Yes.
And then if Daniel says no, there is a problem occasionally if the two tyrants say opposite things. If one says yes and the other says no, then we have a war.
Yeah.
Very good. And then from your perspective then, Ava, when you're looking at like starting doing some extracurricular activity, what is it that you generally value in them?
So I like basically it's so like I can test my brain basically.
Mm.
And what Dad said, high quality, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Yeah, I love that. So you'd like something that challenges you in a way that you
Yeah.
kind of learn a bit more, think of different ways, creative ways. Nice. Wow. And then if it is something online from your perspective, George, do you like what are your main concerns about doing things online compared to doing them face to face?
Yeah, we're very confronting that on lots of fronts at the moment. So for different reasons, I am facing into what people are calling digital transformation of learning,
Mm-hmm.
sorts of different places. Um, in terms of home and the kids, I try to keep it very, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
I mean my selection, not what we're actually doing. And uh, the tendency to be attracted towards the bright lights and the bells and whistles and the cosmetic side of some offerings
Mm-hmm.
is to be avoided. But without investing a lot of time and effort, sometimes it's difficult to distinguish between something that has a sound basis and something flashy.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with you there. And then I suppose because of the virtual way, sometimes we don't get like a face-to-face interaction, and then it's harder to trust what's involved. Like, can I trust these people? So yeah, that's really interesting. And then in terms of like screen time or like the devices that they use around the house, how does it work?
Um, we are allowed 20 minutes on an iPad at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We're allowed half an hour of TV every evening, but usually it stretches to 45 minutes because someone has the timing.
Yeah.
And that's the time you wish the clock was going a little bit
Yeah.
slower. Yeah, and then if it is something educational, then like you need to do some Google search or you're learning Scratch. And how does that work? Is that different then?
We just got onto Python. At the moment, we're doing maybe 10 or 15 minutes of that every evening. And we do another thing called IXL. It's a maths app, and we would do that whenever Dad's off work.
Mhm.
I love that.
Yeah,
I
that's
do that with
amazing.
my dad as well. Or something similar, because my dad's an engineer, so he'd always be like encouraging us to take on different maths and STEM projects. I love that.
Wow. And yeah, that's great to hear. And in terms of like educational toys, do you use any? Is there anything that you use that you've had in the past, or maybe kits, anything like that?
Remember those little rods, the blocks out in the country kitchen? The rods, they, remember what they're called?
No.
Coussinaire.
Yeah, Cousinet rods. It's like
Becky recognizes them, I think.
Yeah, I think I've seen someone use them before. But I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I didn't think.
basically they're little rods, maybe the longest one's like that long, but painted different colors. And I don't know how they're educational, but Dad got them for us, so they must be educational.
Can't be fun.
No.
That's the definition of an educational product.
Yes.
If Dad got it for
Okay.
us, it's educational.
Yes, it's educational.
I love that. Wow. Yeah, is there anything else that I'm missing, Becky, that we're meaning to ask?
Just trying to think of everything.
Yeah.
I suppose, like, is there anything you'd want to like improve or implement that kind of suits your interests, maybe, that you'd like to see more of or less of, that we could bring in more into Smart Edu Club or camps, challenges, etc.?
I just got an elbow, so that means that I should answer the first. And I'll give the elbow back in a moment. It's really good. The fact that you're doing it, it was done really well. We didn't do the more recent camp that you put on. That was just a clash of time. It looks really good to us. It's very engaging. It seems like you're at a point where you could go a lot of different directions now, and you're in a very busy, competitive space. But it looks to us, at least, that you're heading in the right direction. The customizing of the offering, so that people bring away a little bit about themselves at the end of it, as well as just having fulfilled the needs of the program. In other words, done the activity, or if you can put a layer of analytics behind it, such that you know when something is so boring that someone switches off or loses the track. That seems like it's becoming more and more mainstream, and it's a job of work, but it's not as crippling a job of work as it used to be. So the individual, such that they can use it to latch on to something else, or you can use it to improve what you're offering.
That's great. And then, like, so you signed them up for our Halloween camps now. I was so happy to see your name there and be able to meet you. Unfortunately, there was a clash, but well, there will be more opportunities in the future. Can you talk to us a little bit more about like why you thought it was valuable in the camps, and what were your thoughts when you saw it?
Oh, I got another elbow. That's me. The fact that it's generated locally certainly influenced us, but
Mm-hmm.
the content, the fact that there was a nice variety across a bunch of things that could either be games or, you know, subjects, because every single thing you chose, done properly, becomes a really interesting game with a win or lose at the end of it, and a way of ensuring that you win.
Mm-hmm.
All of that.
For a happy
So,
ending.
yeah, a happy ending, exactly. So those were having a face behind it, or a series of faces behind it, especially friendly, smiling faces. It's a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. That's awesome to hear. And did Ava have a look at the website as well when you were looking at it?
Yeah, I did.
Mm-hmm.
We watched the arts and crafts like taster, so we could have a look at it.
Mhm.
I looked like I wanted to do it. It looked good, but it clashed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you appreciate that there was like videos that you could look at and kind of like get to learn.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Brilliant.
like Jack said, there's a really good variety. Like arts and crafts one day, and then science another day, and chemistry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow, that's great to hear. And so like when you're, I think one of the topics that you mentioned there, George, was the more personal touch to having like the kids also in the end kind of talking and like sharing a little bit more, maybe playing games and the one-to-one interaction. Is that what you mentioned there?
Um, uh, yeah, the interaction is important, but what I meant was that it would be possible if I did one of the sessions, um, just by extracting the manner of my engagement. Um, for instance, when I pressed a button on my keyboard, when I spoke, perhaps even what my eyes were doing, when I switched it off or on, all
Mm-hmm.
of be collected into a little bundle which says something about me and the
Yeah.
learning. And that little data set um, is valuable to me. It gives me something about what the way I learn, and
Mm-hmm.
for instance, how visual or auditory, or the way that I reason. But
Yeah.
taken collectively, it could offer you something very valuable about the next iteration.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. It sounds like you have a background on statistics or computer. No, just an interest in this
Uh,
area. That's very
Not
interesting.
really, but we're all, I think, obliged to sort of get some sort of understanding of how this
Yeah,
works.
nowadays it's pretty much like mainstream, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So, like, I suppose the variety was something that you valued as well in the program. That's that's really good. Um, and did you have a chance as well to engage with the content that we posted on Google Classroom? How did that go? Because
I don't think we did it. You posted something on Google Classroom.
mm-hmm.
I don't think we even uh,
Okay.
logged on, or
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and
what
mhm.
I think what Ava was saying, when we were looking at the classes before we realized that there was a clash, we just looked at the sort of the fixed videos, the tasters that you had posted
Mm.
on each of them. But that's all we did for the recent camp.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. And do you think is there value in also having like the video recordings available to you? Would that be something you would engage with?
Yeah, I think so. They, I, I guess, at least if we're anything to go by, as soon as we end a live session and make it available in some sort of archive. The number of people who actually go back to examine it is very small, but it's useful, especially if somebody's taking it very, very seriously and really wants to get every little detail. But I guess for the kind of engagement you're looking at, that that business of recurrently examining the same material to squeeze the last drop of value out of it is probably less, I'm guessing, but I would say less important.
So the most important feature for you there would be more the interactiveness of doing it live.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But then, yeah, so it's interesting because then like the challenges, they were all offline and you engaged with it quite well. So I guess it depends on the format and on the proposition for what you're getting as well. Perfect. Yeah, I guess like we covered everything. I don't want to take too much of your time as well. Is there anything you would like to say in the end? Anything you think like you would suggest that we do or recommend that you would like to see in the future?
No.
Oh, good. So if we had the camps and things like that, this is pretty much things that you would like, you would be interested in.
Yeah.
Very good. And between the camp and the challenges, what do you think? What is your thoughts on the differences between them? What's good about any of about them?
The challenges were more challenging, and the camps were more kind of enjoyable. Like,
yeah. So the challenges were good to challenge your mind. Yeah, that's brilliant. Is there anything else, Becky, that you'd like to cover?
I covered everything. I think we got everything covered.
Perfect. So thank you so much for your time. It was great to learn from you, from your experience, and a little bit more connect with you as well, because it was so special for me to see your photos and that you were engaging, having fun with the challenge. And like, I hope that to keep creating these like content like that in the future as well. So yeah. Yeah, I think this is a really good. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, anything you'd like to ask, we're always here for you.
I'd like to say thank you very much, but also congratulations on what you've done. That takes, I can imagine you're living busy lives, but to create this in parallel is really impressive. So congratulations.
Thank you, George. Yeah, this is something that is I'm very passionate about. So it's very special to me, and I've been very lucky to work with amazing people and like having the opportunity of meeting people like you coming across your lives is just something so like so valuable to me. It is really amazing. Thank you. Have a good evening. Enjoy it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.